You speak of things that would last generations. Take generations to accomplish, one of the soldiers said. We do not have the time for that. Generations of your race would never emerge, at least before the awakening of your Hagara. We haven't the time, Delius. This is the only way to assure our people's strength and unity before those events transpire. We have heard enough of this. The people have left. It's time to begin, Delius, the men said, as all of them seemed to start taking fighting stance. Delius exhaled deeply, sighing. Well, so be it. If that's the way you feel, I suppose I can't change your minds at this point. At least not with words. So, I suppose there's no other choice, Delia said as he widened his gait, his other foot stepping to the side of where he was standing a bit, crushing into the gravel beneath. Delius took one more long breath, exhaling slowly as a rumble began to flow through the ground around him. Small bits of pebble and shattered concrete, rumbling, giving off a small clattering as they bounced across the ground's surface gently. And as Delius began to clench his fists, the muscles in his body growing tense, what seemed like a glow began to emit from around him as pebbles began to lift into the air, defying the laws of gravity themselves as the rumbling seemed to increase, and as the glow around Delius seemed to grow stronger, a glow of flowing rainbow light that seemed to shift and change around his form. So too did small sparks begin to shoot off from his body, bouncing to the stones in the air, shattering them, burning them away to nothing, as red sparks of molten rock melted to the ground, the bolts of rainbow lightning growing stronger, beginning to arc into the ground, scorching it, as larger and larger stones began to tear themselves away, the ground still shaking beneath him, as the expressions of the soldiers who were once prepared for a fight began to shake, beginning to grow more and more concerned that they were not prepared for what they were about to step into. As Delius finished his deep breath, opening his eyes. Well, this is the path you chose. You wanted to fight, so that's what you'll get. You can start whenever you're ready, Delius said in a serious tone of voice, as the area around him continued to shake, several of the soldiers beginning to grind their teeth as they stared down the enemy they hoped to defeat, and that hope began to dwindle, fade away as they were intimidated, now not so certain that they could claim victory by numbers. Truth be told, I'm a little interested to find out exactly how strong those cell clusters made you. I've been led to believe it was quite an impressive boost in strength. I'm curious to find out how it matches up with the real deal, Delius said as his eyes glanced amongst the men surrounding him. Screw this! You think you scare me? One of the men shouted as he grit his teeth, beginning to charge in at Delius in a rapid rush as he took off from his standing place. The impact force of his feet moving forward was enough to tear away at the concrete below him. His speed was exceptionally impressive, at least by any normal standards. None of the original people from this planet would ever have been able to keep up with it. But Delius was not originally from this planet. To him, The man seemed to almost be moving in slow motion. It was much faster than anyone he had seen thus far, but still well within his ability to perceive it. It was simple enough to dodge out of the way, simply shifting to the side a bit with a single step as the punch came in, turning around so that his back was facing him, and with the opposite elbow from the side that the soldier had initially came from, reeled back around with an elbow to the sternum. There was a powerful gust of wind that kicked out the moment of impact as the military armaments he was wearing shattered. Hardened steel crumbled like glass as Delius's elbow crushed into his body. The man let out a powerful gasp, as if every ounce of air had been knocked out of him, and with another whirl, stepping off his feet for just a moment, Delius delivered a roundhouse kick to nearly the same location as the elbow, and yet again another burst of wind on impact, as now with no more forward momentum countering the force of the punch, holding him in place. Now all the momentum went in the opposite direction, the force of the kick and the wind following behind it, rushing as the soldier was sent flying like a bullet, a cannon shell cratering through everything in its path, as the soldier flew back, tearing through the ground beneath him as he rolled against it, massive amounts of concrete tearing away, unable to stop the force of his movement through it, sending up a wake of concrete dust and debris as he flew back hundreds of feet, bouncing several times before impacting a building with a massive explosion that rang out, fractures stretching up the side of the building as crumbled bits of it scattered to the ground. And there Delius stood, taking position in the exact same place that he had been before, as the other soldiers looked on in horror for the moment, as the dust began to clear, and they began to heavily second-guess whether they could actually win. Finally, one last burst rang out, as what seemed to be their friend burst out from the rubble, gasping and coughing, wheezing as if he was struggling to breathe, as he crawled his way out of the rubble, stumbling and stammering, unable to keep on his feet for long. He even threw up as he clenched at his midsection with a look of sheer agony on his face. "Well, he is durable," Delius said as he looked over to him crawling out of his crater. "That would have been enough to destroy one of those mech suits that I fought before. But he seems to be doing fine. Well, maybe not fine, but much better than a mech suit. And I have to say, he moved faster than I expected. And based on that, I have to assume that your strength and abilities have increased somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 300 times that of your normal race. However, you're still a far shot from being as strong as me, or as fast as me. What I'm most impressed with is your overall durability. To be honest, I was a little concerned that would kill him, but my concerns are alleviated. It looks like I don't have to hold back oh so much on you. It's a little tedious, to be truthful about it," Delius said with a smile as he looked amongst the rest of the soldiers. "Normally, even when fighting people in those massive armored suits, I have to hold back so much. But you guys can take a hit, can't you? So I guess I can relax, even if only a bit. But I still doubt that this is going to take long," Delius said as he began to stretch his arms a bit. "If that's the best you can do, then it's no wonder you needed more. This'll probably still be disappointing, But by all means, feel free to press your luck